Welcome to Student Hub Live. This section is about going beyond books, getting the most out of your module website. And I've invited some guests to the studio today to give you some hints and tips on some of the things that you may or may not know about your module website. So we were talking earlier today about the importance of finding your module website and seeing the study planner and various aspects on that module website. It really is the spine to whatever you may or may not have in terms of other content that's there. So it's really, really important that you find that. But this session is going to talk a little bit about online learning, and we've got some questions that we'd like you to fill in. If you've just joined us recently, these word clouds are things that we need 3 words in or things in. So if you can only think of 1 or 2, that's fine. Just put a full stop in so that your results will submit, and then you can see what other people at home think also. So we've asked, how do you feel about online and on-screen learning? What things would you expect to see with learning online? This will be particularly interesting for our new students. And also, have you already done some online learning, like things like Future Learn or various other platforms? That can be very subjective, so you can either say yes or no to that. Right. I'm joined by Ian, who is a Senior Product Development Manager in the Learning Systems team, and you spend a lot of time working on the VLE, the Virtual Learning Environment, and the improvements on that. And Alan, you're from our Audio Recording Centre for Disabled Students, which is fantastic, and you're going to be talking about some of the things that will be particularly relevant to disabled students, but also to all other students, so we've got some great tips for everyone. And Hossam is from our wonderful library. We've been singing the praises of the library on the weekend, and you've got some tips as well about learning online for us also, so thank you for that. So Ian, there's loads of information about navigating the module website, and the one thing I'm really reassured about is that you can't break it.
Nope.
So talk us through then the importance strategically of this virtual learning environment, and what do you think are most important for students to know about that they may not be obviously aware of?
Well, I mean, as you've said already, the virtual learning environment, I mean, that's the spine, the actual critical place where you want to go to, and it'll guide you through your module. It'll give you, you can look on there for latest news. There are forums on there that you can interact with your fellow students, and there's all the resources that you'll need will be linked to or provided within that module website, and that'll that's a great place to it's the place to go to guide you through your studies. So I've got a little screen grab of our virtual learning environment of one of the documents, and I'd just like, if it's okay, I'd like to talk through this and some of the really neat features on here that will help you while you're doing learning. So once you drop out of your study planner, you'll go into a document, a web page, a little bit like this. And what I'm going to do is just pick out some features from this and go clockwise around the page, just to pick up some things. Is that okay?
That's perfect. So students can see this on the screen at home. So we'll just return to that slide. And as you said, these are key things. So while this is specific to one thing, some of these features will be important. So what are they?
So all of these things you should see on on any of the big documents and the sets of pages that will carry your learning content. So if we start down on the left-hand side, there's a view as single page, and that's like a really nifty feature that if you want to search through an entire document, you can hit the view as single page, use your browser, do a Control F, just a standard search on your browser. You can whip through the whole page and Control F on a browser. That's a standard browser feature.
Brilliant.
And that'll help you to find anything you want to on your page.
I really recommend doing that with the assessment, because very often the assessment will be broken down, and it's really nice to be able to see it on screen in small chunks, but I like to have it all printed off.
Yeah,
I'm saving the planet.
Yeah, well, that's going back to looking really closely at what our colleagues were saying in the previous session. One of the hints that I think came up was look at your TMA before you dive into all your material and stuff like that. So that's a feature that can really help with that.
Okay, brilliant. There are other features on this page that are worth pointing out, because some of them are like weird icons, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you get to grips with them. What are some? Let's just return to that slide quickly. This is a different one. This is a download slide. If we go back to the previous slide, so we can show some of the things around working with activities. Some of them are really important, which are things like saving.
Yeah. So one of the other things that I think kind of picks up on what our colleagues were talking about in the last session is if you go next to the working with activities, the title, you just run across, there's a little tab type icon there.
Like a flag.
Yeah, a little flag, and that's called Save for Later, and that's present on all pages like this, and it allows you to kind of click on that flag, you'll get a little box, you'll be able to title that, and that's a little kind of within the OU website bookmark that you can use. And you can put little labels on there like, this will be great for TMA 01, or I didn't quite understand the stuff on this page. Well, you wouldn't write that, but, you know, for coming back to, or something
never
like
read
that.
This again.
Yeah, or never read this up. And you know, that's a really great little thing.
You can put your own tags on things.
Yeah, you can put your own information, your own title in there.
If you were to then look at the assessment beforehand, know that you had a question on something, you could then tag the various bits. And then how could you find them all later?
Well, if we go back to the, that's brilliant. If we work right down, right at the bottom of the page, you've got a little saved for later at the bottom of the page. You can do that. You can get to all the tags in one document, or there's an option in there to get to all the tags across the website as well. So that's a really, really good way of getting some extra information or get some extra navigation that's really personalised to yourself to jump around the website. So
do you know, I actually never knew that.
Well, I mean, the other thing I'd like to point out is, for the convenience of this session, I've done a really short page there, especially for this session. But of course, you know, your pages in your website are likely to be a bit longer than that. So just don't forget to go all the way to the bottom of the page.
Yeah, because some pages are longer than others. You've got this little feedback button as well. And I want to talk about downloads next. But what does that feedback do?
So that feedback button is to tell us about the team behind the VLE, how things are going. So if there's something broken on a page, or you've got, you know, what do you think of that of the pages themselves? The crucial thing to remember is that feedback is not feedback on the course, and it's not feedback on your tutor, and it's not feedback on. So please don't write things in there like
this theory is really like unreliable, boring.
No, I mean, we really like it in the VLE team where we read something like, this is a brilliant video. But actually the tutors won't see that. But it is really useful that if you feed back into there, we do take up suggestions that come through there. So for instance, the Save for Later, which I've just told you all about, that came as people feeding back through the website. So that was, you know, we listen to people.
Brilliant. Well, that's good, and that's a key part of your role, is making those improvements also. So we asked people at home how they feel about online learning. Let's see what you have to say about that. So comfortable, which is brilliant. Space saving. Some people are worried. Some people remember to save. Yes, that's very important if you want to look at it back at it later. Hate online modules, like paper, convenient, more information. Navigation trail, love it. I mean, Ian, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because some people sort of really shy away automatically without maybe knowing stuff about learning online, whereas other people, you know, really like the idea of it because it's got so many convenient aspects.
Yeah, what I'd like to pick up from that word code was across the bottom. It said enjoy interaction, and there's you know, what we're trying to do in many places is make the learning content more interactive. So again, in the previous session, our colleagues were talking about how to learn things, and what we're trying to do is put bits of interactivity into that learning content that help reinforce the learning and stuff like that. And that stuff, that interactivity, it's kind of difficult to do that in books.
But no, it is.
You know, so online learning, I know some people find it a bit scary, a bit daunting, but we can do things in that can really enhance your...
It's nice when you get a link to something and then all of a sudden you'll go and chat on a forum about this, or then watch a video, or then do something else. 86% of people have done some sort of online learning who are watching right now, so we've got a very good bunch. Let's see what sort of things they say they'd expect to see when learning online. So videos here, tests, progress indication, interactive stuff, progress tracking, signposting, audios, references, activities, results, end of the navigation, learning materials, help, text boxes, ebooks, accessibility. So a lot of very positive things. Anything there that's everything, in fact, that's there. Some things are printable even, simplicity. Ian, anything that's not accurate as in terms of a representation here about learning online? I think most of those.
I think that's great. I mean, another thing that I'd like to pick up on, again, right at the bottom, is the progress tracking. On the study planner, you've got those tick boxes, and you can mark things off. And we know that people really enjoy the sense of achievement. Once you've got through something, you can tick it off.
Also on the top of your module website, it says how complete you are through the module, doesn't it? 86% complete.
And we know people love that, and that's another way of giving yourself a boost, showing showing where you've come from in your learning journey with the OU.
Yeah. I want to get onto these Daisy readers, but before we do that quickly, Ian, you had a tip about downloads, and I think this is really important because some people are saying they really like learning on the move. So you had a downloads, which we showed very briefly beforehand, a screen here showing the various formats that people could download some of the materials from the module website. Let's just take a quick look and see what those are on the PowerPoint slide here for downloads.
So we've got downloads, materials, we've got a really cool kind of publishing system in-house that we can post stuff up to the website, and it automatically gives us lots of other different formats as well. So you've got PDFs on there, those are nice and printable. We've got Word versions, those are really good for accessibility, EPUBs for different devices, and then we've got some pretty special stuff in terms of Daisy for certain people, and that's it's special, it's wonderful, and I know nothing about it. So,
Luckily, we have a man who does.
I'll try. Daisy Talking Books are essentially an international standard, a format, which allows us to make audio versions in a highly accessible and interactive and navigable form for students with all sorts of disabilities. And the vast majority of the students who use Daisy Talking Books will access it by downloading from the module website and playing it in this software package, which is called AMIS, Adaptive Multimedia Information System. And effectively what it does is they will see a highlighted chunk of text on the screen. When they press the play button, they'll hear the audio synchronized to that chunk of text. And as they listen to the audio, the text will be highlighted in sync with the audio. They can change the font size, they can change the font style with that, they can speed the audio up and slow it down. They can also, if we could have the slide back up on there again, please. Yeah. They can also put bookmarks in there, so if there is a section of the text that they want to go back to at any point, they can actually do that. And down the side, on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see all of the heading structure, which is associated with the book. Now, the interesting thing with that is if you look at it, you'll notice that basically how the Daisy system works is it will allocate different levels of importance to different headings. Okay. And I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. That's the way the majority of the students access it. The other way that students can access it is via these bespoke Daisy players. Right. Okay.
So can anyone access those, or is it just particular students and particular modules?
Okay. For the vast majority of Open University material, any student can access that. Great. The exception to that is anything which isn't actually Open University copyright. So we get specially licensed to be able to make those things accessible to students with disabilities, but anybody who isn't registered with us as having a disability isn't able to access those. They're in a specific area on the module website for students with disabilities to download them.
Sorry, you were saying about Daisy readers.
Now, the clever thing with these players is there's various different types. This one will actually take CD-ROMs. These ones will take SD cards. The advantage with this one is with the CD-ROM players, it's essentially a single Daisy Talking book on a disc. With these ones, with the SD card players, if you've got an 8 GB SD card, you can get your entire module on there. And if you remember, I said about the difference in level headings, level headings in there. The clever bit about this is, if you think about it, when we create a Daisy Talking book, effectively what it does is it creates an MP3 file for every individual heading in the book. Now, with a particularly large piece of module material, that can be an awful lot of MP3 files. I mean, I actually had a law module the other week, and there were literally 900 MP3 files in there. Now, if the poor old blind or visually impaired student had to try and find their way around that by simply skipping through it, they're never going to do it. It's just an impossible task. So the clever thing with these is that what the student can do is navigate by individual heading levels first. So let's suppose a student wants to go to, I don't know, chapter 7, section 2, subsection 3 of the book. Effectively what they can do is they can navigate by level 1 first, so they can just go chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 7, and miss all of those intervening headings. Once they've got to chapter 7, they then change to navigate level 2, and you can go 7.1, 7.2, and keep digging down like that. And with these things as well, they'll navigate to page numbers. Again, you can put bookmarks in them. You can speed them up, slow them down. You know, so it's a really versatile way for students with all sorts of disabilities to be able to access module material.
And we know that a lot of students really like hearing things. I mean, one of the things with PDFs, when you were talking about the alternative formats, Ian, I know so many students who will convert the PDF to something that can be read out loud, and they'll listen to that on the go and things. You know, hearing things can be very different, although sometimes, you know, it can just go in and out. So there are different sorts of implications with different modes of modality. But how do non-disabled students then make the most out of the DAISY?
Well, the nice thing is, as I say, what the DAISY system does, it produces bog standard MP3 files, and then it creates that navigation structure around it to be able to access it very easily. Now, for a non-disabled student, effectively you can still just use those MP3 files on your own, on their own. So effectively, what you can do is you can just put them onto a USB stick or something else. Yeah. Put it in the MP3 player in your car, and you can be listening to your module material while you're driving up the motorway, going to a business meeting.
So maybe if you've read it, nice to have a refresher
Absolutely.
online as well.
If you're looking to do some revision, it's a very easy way to be able to do that revision without actually having to sit down with the book in front of you.
Thank you. Any questions, do let us know, but I want to talk about the library. Have you got any questions right now, or are you still talking about cats?
We're still talking about cats and highlighters and tick boxes, so maybe come back when we're a bit more focused on that.
Good. So anyone got any questions? And also it'd be really good to talk about the importance of mentioning to your student support team any additional requirements you might have and how they can go about putting things in place for you. But Hossam, last but by no means least, I want to talk about the library, because you guys have some fantastic online resources that are additional. So whereas these are sort of core parts of the module material, the library is one of the services at the OU that offers a really great range of stuff. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you support students through things without books, being a library as you are?
Well,
online
I'll
library.
Pick up from where Alan mentioned third-party materials that are converted, which our non-disabled students can't see. The library does convert content into an accessible format and put it in modules if it is a core reading for the module. And that's what the students would see in the accessible section. And they have to have told us that they have this disability. In other things, the library website for our students is the entry point to the library. And I have supplied some slides there talking about the library website. The main page will tell the students where they need to go.
Yeah, let's see if we can get that. Here we are.
The first thing any students have to do is just make sure that you are logged in, because that will save you later lots of time.
So you logged on the OU website. Down the side, you see a page, option for library. You go, and then you get to here.
And you get to the library. And in the top panel, you would see the library search. You would see help and support, where to go for that. Yeah. One thing I'd like to point the students to, and that applies to all students, is our training sessions, which if you want to learn how to find information, how to reference, I know that there was some of the clouds there was referencing. We have sessions that you can attend live. If you can't attend live, there is recordings, and we know that we have disabled students, so we made these recordings also accessible by putting scripts and subtitles. So if you want to go there, you can do that. Again, lots of modules refer students to find some articles or ebooks on the library website and read them, and you can find that through the resources sections in the library. We've made it easier for you. So on the right-hand side, you can slide through either databases or ebooks and then search for that. The good thing about it, it's available anywhere for the students. They don't have to be connected to a computer at home. You could be on a mobile device with internet connection, or sometimes it will allow you to download the article and read it later. So in your own time, if you are flying or you are on a train, you can do that. All we ask students to be mindful of copyright law. So use it for study purposes, and lots of our resources have been cleared for that purpose. So they can use it in their modules if they happen to do background reading and then write it in their TMA or EMA. The last thing is the help and support page, which I've also provided. This is a section that applies to everyone, but we do know that we have lots of disabled students. So there is a special section for disabled students on the help and support. They can go in there and see how we can help them. We talked about some module materials being already converted if it's a core reading. However, we know some of our students might do their independent reading and they might come across articles or ebooks that are not accessible. They can contact us and we can help them finding how to convert it or how to get an accessible format.
Now, you also run these online workshops in Adobe Connect, much like we do at Student Hub Live. Tana's still trying to figure out how to attend.
Okay, so if you want to attend what we call a generic library session that is not connected to any module, if you are on the main library website, go to the event and training section on the panel, and from there you will see a list of all the sessions we run, and you would see also the next one that is coming, and you can click through that. It's just clicking through the things and you can attend. Once you are there, it's exactly the same as any Adobe Connect sessions which run through modules. We know that some of the students actually come to our sessions for the first time just to learn how to go around when they go to their actual sessions. Yeah. And then you would see that they know once they are there that they are not alone. There's people who are in the same position, and it just, you see how they start interacting. That's how you attend it through the library website. You can also link to the library website from the module itself. If you go to the resources section in the module, there is on the right-hand side, there's a library tab just under the download tab as well.
Brilliant. Oh, that's a fantastic, Hossam. We've got loads of resources on our Student Hub Live resources page on the website, including the library and the training sessions. There's a video there that shows you how it all works on YouTube, the library resources. So do check that out from the Student Hub Live website.
Can I just mention one thing? The library is actually available to students 24/7.
Yeah.
So there is a chat line that is open literally 24/7. When we are closed, our colleagues in the United States will pick up the line and they will help students to the best of their ability.
They're absolutely brilliant. And I know so many students panicking about referencing, because lots of students do, and they come to your lovely referencing sessions, but you do give them help and support on that as well, which is fantastic. Well, thank you all so much. Shay, I hear everyone at home is trying to persuade our studio manager to eat the cake, and we think we've all agreed it's mine now.
I don't think so. Davin said I should probably just keep the cake because it takes away the temptation for everyone else to eat it while we're doing the sessions. And Victoria makes a very good point that brains need energy. So I'm using a lot of brain power keeping up with this chat here. So maybe I'll take it back later. We'll see. I might share it.
Do you know what? I mean, it is one of the downsides, actually, of virtual learning environments, because I was sent some amazing pictures of cakes on the weekend. This guy, Ian, he makes these incredible cakes, and he sent us pictures of those, because we have study buddies, but also tummy buddies. So we had lots of pictures of people's cakes, but unfortunately, we're not really allowed to share them. But you guys can have some of our cake to thank you for being such fantastic guests. Right, more cake for stealing. So our next session is going to be in a short while. We're going to play a replay. We have an Adobe Connect taster for you, though. Isabella's going to be running one of those. So if you're interested in seeing what these library sessions are like Hossam says, many people go to those just to sort of get a taster of our online tutorial platform, Adobe Connect. But Isabella's going to be running a parallel session at 12:05. Now, you need to download a little thing that makes Adobe Connect work. So it's worthwhile taking a look at that. You can click on the link from the programme on the Student Hub Live website, but the room will only be open 15 minutes before that session. But if you'd like to take a look at that, then you'd be more than welcome to join her. You can say hello to other people as well. And if you miss any of this programme, you can catch up. It'll all be available later, and also on our YouTube channel, where there's lots of other things, including sessions about all of the stuff on offer from the library and other sessions on the virtual learning environment. Thank you all very much for coming, Ian, Alan and Hossam. We'll see you very shortly for our next live session, but enjoy this video replay in the meantime, and keep chatting. We'll see you soon.